It's August the 27th, 2016. I'm Dana Drenfort, your host, nuclearproctologist.org. And we have a live stream here at Saturday night. Beautiful girl by Dana on YouTube. What we done was we studied the tidal zones of British Columbia, Canada for the last couple of years extensively. But what we're going to talk about tonight is nuclear, just understanding certain aspects of Fukushima. And hi to everybody in the comment section. I think we got you up there somewhere. And I know nobody was expecting me. CJ, Shanikin, Elaine, hi folks. And once again, I wasn't expecting many people to find their way here tonight. And yeah, I'm feeling much better. Much better. I'm sitting here with my legs crossed. Dana, sitting here with my legs crossed, and which is a good thing, trust me. I'm standing up most of the day back and forth, so not up to speed. I can't go any distance or something like that. I'm not going to go pick up groceries through the grocery store, I don't think. You never know. Terrified that would happen again. And so tonight we're going to talk about, hi everybody, tonight, I'll play that video. Now that tsunami on your right hand side, that's 400 kilometers of coastline. Now, that's hitting the Daiichi power plant. That's the original, only pictures I think they got of it. And there's the plants detonating. Now, what you're looking at on your left hand side in red are the people that died from that tsunami. And the yellow are the people that are missing. And that tsunami, that's going to start rolling here again in a moment, I hope. I kind of shortchanged everybody, I think, that time. Let's continue to play that till it ends. It's going to end in a few seconds. So when you look at that explosion, that's a real explosion, yeah? So that tsunami took out 400 kilometers of the coastline, up to 10 kilometers inland. This hit the coastline at 600 miles per hour. And then you can see the damage, the devastation. So all the telephone poles, all the infrastructure. And I mean, look at the people running. It's just a horror beyond imagination. And there is no doubt originally that this was the horror. And continues to be the horror. And will traumatize every child in Japan probably forever for their many generations, hopefully. You can see the enormity of it throughout the whole coastline. The significance of what it done, how it inundated everything. Nobody could escape it unless you had a big hill and you knew it was coming. When it on land, it was traveling at 100 miles per hour in most places. So what you're looking at went through the power plants. And I had that on instead of that. So the power plants were right along that coastline. And so that's why you see these connotations. Let's keep playing that. But that's why you see these connotations that I show you all the time. Because that tsunami swept through that entire area. See all the telephone poles? Do you think they got power there after that goes out? No. Of course you don't. But that's what you're led to believe. You're led to believe that you can run an extension cord somewhere now and plug it in. Yeah? Remember, there's 400 kilometers of the coastline where people died because of that tsunami. And that is exactly where there's also 15 to 16 other nuclear power plants. There's 15 reactors in that area. It wasn't just the Fukushima Daiichi that blew up, that caught fire, that had issues. They had waste sites all over that area. The Daiichi was the one that we heard about the most, right? But the Fukushima governor strongly demands TEPCO decommission and dismantle all 10 nuclear reactors. So he was talking about those 15 reactors that were in the same coastline and the same areas that tsunami ran through. Does that make any sense for anybody? Does anybody have an issue with that one? Just asking. Just saying. I'm just trying to show a few. I'm just trying to show the narrative for what it is. That when they say that they got power back to the power plant, do you think that, and I got a better graphic for everybody here, that's the power, where are they going to plug it in? Like where are they going to plug the power in? Where are they going to bring the extension cord? Why this is right after the accident, it's chaos. They tore it down right now, but just imagine after the accident. Yeah, I know that's me inside the building. I'm supposed to be dead because I should die within 30 seconds of being within that close to the fuel. That's number 3. That's number 4, rather. It had 6 reactor cores in the building. 6 in each of the buildings. Pretty slick, eh? Look, I'm up walking around in the top corner back there. There's 2 Danas just wandering. It'll be a while before I shoot videos like that again. That's okay. Slow me down for a year or so, I guess. Now, let me see here for you. What have I got? Oh, I need the other one, do I? Oh, I need the other one, do I? Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness, I'm lost now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I've done something. Oh yeah, I know what I got done. Gotta click on it. I'm just gonna let you, my interpretation of those reactors. That's what they're supposed to look like. Think about it. This is what they're supposed to look like. That's reactor 4, let's say, for instance. And in the center of it, you see that bulb up at the top? Let's play that little clip first. Here's the building, reactor 4. Reactor 4, right? You say it looks like that on the inside, of course. I'll get to that in a second, but let's just...
Hey, that's the reactor right here. Right there. Hang on, I gotta fill up the fuel pump. Whoa, hang on. There we go, filling up the fuel pump. I gotta fill it up. I'm filling up the fuel pump. Hey, no peeking.
So I filled up the fuel pool at reactor 4. Now they say that when you do a comparison inside outside, I'm not going to do it to you.
So let me get this straight. David Suzuki says if number 4 goes, and I'm in number 4, according to Debco and Seth Dorn and Miles O'Brien, who said they've been in this same building, that if this building tips over, I got no idea how that one's going to happen, but if it tips over, bye Japan, and you got to evacuate North America. Huh?
Right, and so what are they talking about? They were talking about this building here. It doesn't really look like that, see? You remember David Suzuki. Here's me goofing around on the stage. It's 50 seconds. Let's just play that. Hi, everybody. Paul, Jolpa, 51. CJ, Elaine. And thank you for showing up. I've never had no time, I know.
So just to recap, when you look at the pictures, all of number 4 is missing and all of number 3 is missing. And so the fuel pools were up close to the top of the building. They're long gone. David, I think you had something you wanted to say?
That the fear is if there's another earthquake of a 7 or above, that building will go, and then all hell breaks loose. And the probability of a 7 or above earthquake in the next 3 years is over 95%. I have seen a paper which says that if, in fact, the 4th plant goes under an earthquake and those rods are exposed, it's bye-bye Japan, and everybody on the west coast of North America should evacuate.
if I don't know. Now, all he had to do was show this picture. Media come out and beat him up. Beat, turn it up a little bit, I guess, a little bit longer. Talk a little bit louder, maybe that'll help, who knows. Now, if he showed that building and said, look, they're lying to you, it doesn't look like that in there, inside of here, right? And then Suzuki would have came out on top. But instead, he capitulated. He bowed down. And all Suzuki had to do is what I do in this video right here. Let's play it. It might get a little noisy, but let's play it.
Well, that's number 4 behind me, over here. And so the fuel poles would have been up here, about 90 feet up in the air. Well, I'll show you. Hang on. I'll show you. Here we go. Hang on. I gotta get around this one. All right, we're almost there. And, oof. Got it. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Oh! Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here. Okay. Jesus! Fuel pool would have been down right here. Right below me. Oof. Right there. I don't see no fuel pole. You see a fuel pole? Where's the fuel pole? How did you get your degree? Huh? How?
And where are you going to plug into that building? You know, they said they got power there. How did they get power there when the whole country looked like that? And the reality was the buildings looked like this, right? How would you get power? What are you going to plug it into? And why would you show a picture like this? Why would Seth Dorn?
So let me get this straight. David Suzuki says if number 4 goes.
Right. But that was Seth Dorn inside of it. That's not the clip. I can play it if you like. And they picked up 30 million bags because it's like a banana and a potato chip and walking in the sunshine.
So they picked up over 30 million bags. Not scientists, but the homeless and the destitute and the victims of society and immigrants who don't speak the language. So does that now qualify as a release? 30 million bags. If you put each of these bags, 1-ton bags, in the back of a pickup truck, you circle the planet 5 times. 5 rows of traffic around the planet. Is that not a release? Is that not something we've never seen before? Is that not something that is completely out of touch with scientists say there is no harm to the environment, how United Nations says no one's going to get harmed, how UNSCLEAR, IRPA, atomic agencies have all said there will be no health effects, but they cleaned up 30 million bags. 30 million! From 4 buildings. From 4 lousy buildings. But it's not an issue. Well, why would you clean up 30 million bags?
So why would you clean up 30 million bags if there was no issue? Why would that be a good idea? Think about what happened to the country. Think about what the buildings are supposed to look like. See that centerpiece at the very top just below me where I'm facing right there? That's the top of the reactor. Now look where it's to. It's on the side of the building. It's on the side of the building. And let me figure this out. I got to do this the hard way. That's okay, I don't mind. So it's not bolted on anything, is it? Right? That's part of the reactor right there, for goodness sakes. And that's the other part of it over right there. Big surprise, the center of it's right here at the top of the building. Does that surprise? By the way, my cigarettes don't have 7,000 chemicals. Thanks, Paul. Yeah, no, legs are doing much better. Going to make a recovery for sure. It's going to be a long go. I can't do something like that for a long, long time. Probably going to be a couple of years before I can pull the stunt off like that one again. And that definitely incapacitated me. There's no way I can walk on a beach or very, I can't go anywhere. I can go short distance, thank goodness. That was my biggest fear, that I would have lost everything I gained. There's nothing you can do about it. That's not going to change anything if that's the way it goes. But let me talk about that's unit 3 right above my head here. That's 52 seconds, but I don't know if I'll play all of that. I just want you to see that building. I'm going to zoom in. Hang on. See how this works. No, not her. Those reactors. My goodness, how much do I got on my computer at all, eh? Wow. There we go. We're getting there now. Maybe. Almost. I'll get it. Hang on. Should be everywhere. Oh yeah, it's good. I broke it up. So I'm going to play that video on the right. On the left. In the very right-hand corner of your left picture.
Well, I was over at number 4 and I couldn't find set Dorn, so I came over here to number 3. And I can't find the mixed oxide fuel. Now they say this reactor here is 2 million times worse than any other reactor. I don't see no reactor. I think it kind of ran away. Does a reactor have legs? Huh? How come nuclear scientists and the media don't tell you about number 3? Number 3 was 2 million times worse than any other reactor. 2 million times. All I know is my skin is burning, my hair is starting to fall out, I just finished puking up last week's breakfast, and I'm melting.
So when you look at these two, one is the model of what that building should look like. The reactor core, you can see where it's to. You got the comparison. Do you believe your own eyes? Do you think that the building on your left-hand side, the reactor or the fuel pools? Now there's 5 reactor cores at the top of the building on your left. The one I'm sitting on, per se. That's 15 times Chernobyl. So Chernobyl was 1/3 the size and a 30% meltdown. So they lied to you about both buildings. Unit 4 is also gone. But we also know, even when they built that there, they still don't match up to the buildings. Right? And that's why David Suzuki came out and retracted himself, because people started to pay attention. Okay. Let's keep going, hopefully. So the buildings melted down, you had major releases. Not just Japan, but all of Japan was coated over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And we got that proof from these institutions. Right? Did all of these institutions lie? That there was a release, which Norwegian Institute for Air Research, the Austrian. Look at the Norwegian model. It's just based upon 2 days releases from a single reactor. It's not based upon, it's only based upon reactor 1. Maybe 2, right, for a couple of days, but it's not based upon the meltdown, the melt-throughs, or loss of 6 reactor cores. That was a running reactor. 6 reactor cores, running reactors. This is Unit 3. It's a running reactor. 6 reactor cores gone there. This is Unit 4. They stripped it all down, so 6 reactor cores there. Number 3 is the biggest, because this is the mixed oxide fuel, where they took, I know my volume's low. For some reason, I moved the mic away from it because I know we got interference on the last stream. What else is new? Okay, so back to the story. So, the Eurorad project. So you've got Austria, you've got the Norwegian Institute, you've got the Eurorad project, you've got France's IRS, and And you've got Norwegian Institute got bullied. Look at the model for the Norwegian Institute. So expanded non-stop all the way across the Pacific, non-stop, all the way across North America, non-stop, all the way. But this is only based upon iodine 131, which is irrelevant. It's relevant, don't get me wrong, but it's a tracer. And that meant the uranium, plutonium, and all the nasties, thousands of them, have made their way to North America. And so this is why people like Seth Dorn. Seth is inside of this building right here, okay? Let's watch that.
Of the decommissioning work taking place here in Reactor 4.
At the end of our tour, we were checked for radiation exposure. In 4 hours, I received the equivalent of less than a chest x-ray.
Yeah, but he wasn't inside the building, was he? All right? He's not being honest, is he? He's pretending he's inside of the building on the right-hand side. Right? It should look, big, tall, pretty building, but it's not. It looks like that. And he's right alongside of that at the same time. So he's definitely not in there. He'd be dead. There's no way he survived. There's no way the building could look like that anyway. To your left, because these are the official pictures. Okay, Miles O'Brien done the same thing too, and there was 7 journalists. We covered them on the site here. ABC, PBS, CNN, ABC Australia. Well, let's come back to the other format. France, we're still a long way off from power being restored. Well, look at the building on the right-hand side. How are you going to get power restored to that? How are you going to get power restored to that? But this is the one they were talking about. You couldn't get, like, all of these buildings are meltdowns. They're all 6 reactors. This is, Chernobyl was 1/3 the size of any of these buildings. And Chernobyl stopped after 10 days. These buildings have never stopped. The emissions are vicious, ongoing, non-stop, perpetual. You don't need scarecrows through Fukushima because the birds are literally gone, the predatory birds. And the UN committee come out and lied to you and said we wouldn't expect to see health effects in children. We got to stop these sorts of reports coming out. Obama's picked to lead the EPA's people who hid away the radiation monitoring. And how the brainwashing was done. Major websites. Mysterious clouds of dangerous iodine. But that's not the one they should be talking about. It should be uranium and plutonium. You got 6 melted reactors. You got 6 reactors in each of the buildings. They don't look like that. That's for sure. They didn't bring that in because they couldn't pour water through that roof, could they? Why would they have that there if the roof looked like that? How would that make any sense? It makes sense because it's actually like that, and you can see it in the top left-hand corner of the left picture. That truck is in the left-hand side of that picture. That's that truck. They brought it in. It's the world's biggest cement pump truck. And there's a mystery cloud. How's it a mystery when the buildings look like that? Well, 3 months ago, here's TEPCO. 3 months ago. He's talking about the building on your right-hand side. Make that a little bit bigger for everybody. Dina. Let's that one on. Now with that. Okay, now let's play TEPCO's version of what that building looks like. This is 3 months ago to Washington Press Club in Washington, D.C. This is TEPCO's puke machine. Here's what he shows everybody. Is inside the building on your right-hand side. When is this world?
And Fukushima Daiichi stage, right after the accident, it was, of course, the emergency condition. But right now, gradually became the decommissioning stage, more stable decommissioning stage. And that's that as I mentioned, the successful completion of the dismantle of the spent fuel from the Unit 4.
So spent fuel from Unit 4. Here he is faking the interior of the building on your right-hand side. That's TEPCO at the Washington Press Club. Everybody's laughing. Everybody's yucking it up. Everybody's thinking about the martinis. Oh, he's like a toon, isn't he? He's like Bugs Bunny, Wally Wabbit. Okay. All right. Now we finally got somewhere, I think. Dude, feeling better. Feeling like I'm on a new path. Feel like I'm not invigorated, but feels like the world has changed in the last couple of days for me. Because I know I can't do the things I want to do, so I got to do the things I can do. And these are one of the things I can do. Even though the government made me take down 300 of these presentations to protect Woods Hole and the University of Victoria. And a couple of days ago, out on the boat, I got banned from Banfield Marine Science Center. A public institution, non-profit organization, bans me before you can even ask a question. My cigarettes don't have 7,000 chemicals. Ask yourself why your government doesn't tell you that. It's the same reason they haven't told you this. The government has been captured by mass murderers. I mean, nuclear industry. I mean, mass murderers. How's everybody doing? Hi, everybody. I'm Thirst, Stetson, hey, bud. Shanikin, Elaine, Paul, and Net Diver. Pacific Ocean's dead, it doesn't know it yet. Gotta have a sense of humor. There was one right there. Lane was doing good last stream. Bumfield instead of Banfield. She had a whole bunch of them. I can't remember off the top of my head. Some pretty funny stuff. Bumfield. Reactors they're supposed to look like that, but they actually they're destroyed. So. Now, very good. Now we're moving right along. The plan is coming together. Wonder Bears. Decided to find let's try to get this straight. No. I'm supposed to be on studies. Supposed to be on studies, but I smushed up, I guess. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe I poked it over here somewhere. Who knows? Oh, maybe it goes over there. You never know, it could be up here. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Didn't play like it's supposed to. Here's a model. I skipped ahead a couple of days. This is a 40-day model from just a couple of days releases. So it's not all the reactors. It's not 6 reactors per building they're talking about. They're just talking about a couple of days releases from a man-made venting, not from the actual meltdowns or the missing reactor cores that are now in your community, in your water, and killed most of the Pacific Ocean. Now, pre-Fukushima, 2012, the story came out. 2001, a study, less than 1% of the children in the control group had thyroid. Yeah? Now, this is normally, say, 3 out of 1 million or something like that, what you're talking about. Now it's 13,600 out of 40,000. Not 3 out of 1 million, but 13,600 out of 40,000. Do you understand that one? Do you get that one? That would be like the Black Plague, say. Because normally it's 3 out of 1 million, at best, that would have thyroid issues. That's all they were looking for, thyroid. After Hiroshima, Nagasaki, 70 years, all they studied was external. They didn't study internal. Some scientists did, but the ones you're hearing from didn't. This was another France model. So boom, the entire width of the Pacific Ocean, yeah? The entire width of the Pacific Ocean, North America, the Atlantic Ocean, and European countries. But that's only based up on until the 25th of March. So 14 days. It's only based upon the releases that they admitted to originally. It's not based upon the actual inventories. It's not based upon the reactors. And there's 5 reactor cores in each building I was showing you earlier. No, it's only based... At the Geiger counter up in my corner, if I had a fish here and I was eating it, it's got 114 becquerels. I'm eating my fish. I'm eating it's got 97 more... You know, like all these becquerels are floating around. Don't matter if the fish in the ocean only got 1 or 2, which I can assure you, for the fish that are left, they bioaccumulated 15 to 20,000. Shellfish bioaccumulated 100, 120,000 in a short period. We don't know what the long-term consequences of so much radiation is going to be, but on short term, they've been known to have bioaccumulated 100, 120,000 times. And so they always talk about Mother Nature. You're surrounded by radiation, and that's a bald-faced lie. Whoever told you that needs to lose their degrees and should be prosecuted and should be ostracized from their institution and from any organizations. They should come out and berate and disavow anybody that said that. If they don't, then they're corrupt. And if you allow them to get away with it, then you abrogated your responsibilities and your ability. They're terrified of your voice. So the ones that are out there all the time, that's the ones you got to come out and call them for. They are terrified of that. They'll be home in the closet with the flashlight in their face and the dark sucking their tongue. This is not happening. This is not happening. No, I'm supposed to be protected. The media is supposed to cover my 6. But you had a plume that stretched the entire width of the Atlantic. So when it fell down to the Atlantic, that was game over. But this model is not based upon 24 reactors that we know about. It's not based upon the 15 reactors in that 400-kilometer zone of the tsunami that I showed you earlier. It's not based upon the waste sites that were swept away. It's not based upon the common spent fuel pools at the reactors that were swept away. Remember what that tsunami looked like. It's not based upon they're dumping it and burning it in the incinerators. They're dumping it directly into the rivers and lakes, the estuaries, and the oceans on the record, documented repeatedly. It's not based upon the endless emissions, the constant and perpetual. We know it was in the chain reactions were going on hardcore right up until November. We got that for sure. That doesn't mean it stopped. It just means we documented that. Chernobyl only lasted 10 days. Kofi Annan said 3 million children in 2000 at the UN podium had permanent disabilities because of Chernobyl in Ukraine and Belarus and those areas. You can't eat reindeer from Latvia, even though they allow it because this is their whole life. So once a year they're allowed to eat it, but they shouldn't. Sweden opened its freshwater fishery 2 years ago after 28 years being closed because of Chernobyl. The UK, Ireland, Scotland, you can't sell certain parts of it because it's contaminated from Chernobyl. You can't drink the milk or eat the meat from certain lands there because of Chernobyl 30 years later. Chernobyl 1/3 the size. Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown. Chernobyl allegedly stopped after, the majority of it stopped after 10 days. There could be a chunk gone down in the earth, melting on down to the earth. The emissions will never stop. Will never stop at Chernobyl. They got to put a new sarcophagus on it every 20 years for the next 3,000 years. Chernobyl has mitigated any benefit the nuclear ever had in that part of the country because it's enormously expensive and forever, and you can't even pay someone to store the waste. No one. Like Australia, they're going to give Australia, whatever, a couple $100 million. A handful of corporations will knock all that down in a matter of short order, and then Australia's stuck with the waste for billions of years. A pound of this stuff could kill everybody in the theater, 1,500 people every 20 minutes. Period. That's why you won't see Harvard or Yale or Berkeley or Stanford or MIT or Oxford at Fukushima. Because the rods blew up and went all over that site. And that those suits can't protect you from gamma rays or X-rays or neutron burst or gamma shines or anything like this from the rods, from the pellets, from the fuel, from the meltdowns, the open meltdowns. The only people you've seen in the pictures are homeless and destitute and immigrants who don't speak the language. That's all you're seeing there. That's it. That's why they all come out and fake being at Unit 4. And that's not Doiny. Doiny was destroyed. There's 15 power plants. At least 10 of them should have been torn apart. That's what the Fukushima governor was alluding to, right? But we got documentation of 15 reactors. Couldn't go into cold shutdown and had station blackout. Why? Well, because the tsunami ripped off 400 kilometers of the coastline. Thousands of people were desperate. Thousands of people were missing. Thousands, tens of thousands of people were in dire strait. And then the resources were pumped into that like they should have been. No one understood what was happening because they didn't tell anybody. This next model you're looking at, getting stuff fooling around, is the radiation at some point on the right-hand side. Let's bring it up to a bigger picture. So the radiation on the right-hand side is Japan, and the left-hand side is just striking North America. It's all the way across the Pacific. These are many models, different legitimate models, based upon just a couple of days' releases. And by the way, purple is the color for potassium. It should never be in these models because potassium doesn't come from a reactor. Potassium is natural. It's good for you. This is how they confuse you, manipulate you, and deceive you. Because when you were young, you actually learned that. Subconsciously, your brain processes it that way, see? That's why it takes you so many years to go through their schools, their education system. So the plume never stopped coming. It never stopped coming. On the right-hand side, it just never stops coming. The models might stop, not that they do, but the plumes never stop. And the data showed a large spike in deaths, particularly infants, in 14 weeks following Fukushima meltdown. Because so Japan's on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand side. North America is your left-hand side again. And Columbia, a medical professor, inhaling just one radioactive hot particle. That's what this is, radioactive hot particles, see? They're from a chain reaction. That's why we have nuclear waste sites. That's why we're terrified of dirty bombs, blah, blah, blah. And that's why this culture icon was created to confuse everybody very successfully, right? So the kids become disarmed because they see nuclear as funny and stupid, right? I got something done here. To the world from Japan, sorry. Yeah, hugs for you guys. The terrorists here in Canada were set free. Oxford professor in Japan, well, so what if Fukushima? This is what's his face. I've done a video about him already. But anyway, people enjoy the effects of radioactive contamination. See, sunshine is much more dangerous. Effects of radiation, same as oxygen. I mean, this is the typical nuclear industry spokesperson. This is emblematic of these people. Former World Health Organization official, which is normally a maggot, says the man is dangerous. He's a crank. That's Wade Allison, right? That's what that was. Why do people still avoid product from Japan? Why do people? Well, because radiation went through the whole area viciously. It's not like it was just a single release and you're able to contain it and control it. But this is the sickness that is the nuclear industry and the people that are trying to make a living in it. They'll make studies like this, saying, well, we tested it. The government said it was safe. You're allowed to have this many vesicles? No. No. You don't want to have that many vesicles because just one hot particle can cause a cancer. So if you start eating it all the friggin' time, you buy a bunch of potatoes or a bunch of vegetables, and you eat it over a whole week, and you got 500 becquerels a kilogram, and you only need one in your body. You don't need to inhale it. Just eat it or drink it or poop it. I guess I shouldn't say that. Airliners, 4 passengers being held in a sterile room. That's because they were irradiated from Japan, right? Nuclear fallout going to engulf Taiwan, April the 6th. People should stay home. This is what they told their citizens. This is what they're supposed to do in Canada. That's what they were supposed to do in America. That's what they were supposed to do all over the planet. I take my socks off now. But anyway, Taiwan warned its system. Those people. Fukushima worker transported to hospital, bad shape after working on number 2. Because number 2 is just 6 reactors are melted down. It's not just 1 reactor per building, it's 6. And this is typical. We've seen this after Chernobyl. Nearly 3,000 evacuees rushed to... See, they were in the zone where all the radiation plumes comes from, and the PR firms were just saying, oh, he died of stress. He killed himself because they were stressed out. No, he died because he ingested all that radioactive particle. And you guys waited. That's common knowledge. You guys waited till it was too late before you done that evacuation. Oh, you only got to go a couple of miles. Oh, you only got to go 5 miles. Oh, you only got to go 10 miles. You kept changing it instead of doing what you were supposed to do. All the TEPCOs should be in jail, every bit of them, every one of them. And then they should do what they do best, deal with them. Serious abnormalities. 40% of the visitors showed internal exposure. It's not like they checked everybody. The 40% is what basically checked, and every one of them was contaminated. They didn't bleed. And the hair didn't fall. So many were deathly exhausted. Doctors on internal radiation exposure. Internal radiation damages the DNA every second. It pulses right through your whole body, smashing the chromosomes and the DNA apart. And we got studies on the plutonium on beagle dogs and beagle puppies. Every dog died for 70 years. In Loveless Respiratory Research for the last 35 years, every dog there has died, yeah? Dr. Ray McGill, we'll bring him up for something. We'll bring him up just because we like him. We like to tell you, we don't like him, but we like to tell you a story. So he killed beagle dogs and beagle puppies. And the biggest producer was curium isotopes, the biggest, or the major byproduct of the radiated nuclear fuel. And they found out that was just like plutonium and americium, neptunium on the dogs. Plutonium, 144 beagle dogs. Death from radiation occurred from 1.5 to 5.4 years after. Tumors of the lungs, skeleton, liver occurred beginning at about 3 years after exposure. Bone tumors found in 93 dogs were the most common cause of death. Lung tumors found in 46 dogs were the second most common cause of death. Liver tumors, which were found in 20 dogs but were the cause of death in only 2 dogs, occurred later than the tumors in the bones and the lungs. And tumors in these 3 organs often occurred in the same animal and were competing causes of death. And these findings in dogs for 35 years suggest a similar dose-related biological effects could be expected in the population that was sucking up those isotopes. Now, when you look at that experiment, the study was conducted. The dogs inhaled 1 of 2 sizes of monodispersed. They weren't eating it in their food. They weren't drinking it in their water every single day, day in, day out. So you think of these buildings blowing up and catching fire and 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 blowing up and blowing up. See me down there on the beach? I'm going to throw a rock. Just play 1 second. See that guy on the beach down there? That's me. I inserted myself in. It's only 2 seconds long. I'm throwing a rock on the beach. 2-minute video, but I'm not going to play it right now. Now, do you think that is a normal looking, like if they had a little damage here, Dana, or it's not as bad as it looks, Dana? No, you got to realize what this building was made of. This was all metal. That all melted. It completely melted, the metal and the beams, and the I-beams and the structure in the interior of the building, melted it. Because it had 6 reactor cores in it. Besides the fact they blew up down there and caught fire and blew up and caught fire and blew up some more and everything went friggin' booey and wooey and blew up and caught fire. They had lots and lots of Fukushima 50s, eh? Every day. Renewed nuclear chain reaction failure number 4. What was the date on that one? March 18, yeah, I bet it was. All of the reactors and spent fuel contain plutonium, yeah? The iodine suggests that the spent fuel, because iodine lasts 8 days. So that's in the fission, right? That's a fission product. That's why it's so deadly. But if you got iodine, then you got uranium plutonium, because that's what the reactors run on. Not iodine, it's just a byproduct, a very tiny, 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 tiny byproduct. But it's one they can find with the Geiger counters easily. 22,000 times above normal, whatever they call normal. The fuel pools are releasing radioactive material all the time. It never stops. Even if it never blew up, the fuel pool never stops. They usually burn off 120,000 liters a day because the fuel was so hot in normal conditions. Aerosol plutonium from Fukushima detected in Europe. Spent fuel indicators, see? Well, yeah, Dana, the spent fuel is probably a little bit implicated when you consider the buildings look like, Dana. Well, sometimes you got to think about, that's what I got down there. Oh, yeah, that was one of those where I crawled across on the ground. I don't think it matters with the audio. I could turn the audio off on that one. Let's kill the audio in the background. I was just playing around with green screen. Don't ask me what. Okay. Let's call it a night. That's a short stream. I'm going to keep going on and on. But you can see when you look at the comparisons, when you look at the comparisons, I'll get it. Oh, I smarted that one, did I? I'll find another one. I'll make it happen, Dana. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Okay, but I ended on that. So you can see the two buildings, they don't match up. Yeah? Number 3 don't match up. Number 4 don't match up. That meant that's 12 reactors at Fukushima. And I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Yeah, goodnight, Paul, Elaine, CJ. Hey, everybody. No, I would not eat seafood ever. Whatever's left out there is highly contagious radiation. The mussels apparently are full of cancer. That's another way of getting their kids not to eat it. Good night, Amthurst. Thank you, honey. And Elaine, honey. Thank you. And Craig. And UFO. CJ. Thank you, everybody. Paul. And Knit Diver. Yeah, it is just this issue, Knit Diver. It really is. That don't matter. If we lose these reactors, we lose the planet. If we took all the earthquakes and all the famines and all the storms and roaring and tossings of the sea, financial tsunamis, volcanoes, they don't mean anything compared to Japan's melter reactor. A melter reactor is worse than every nuclear dump on the planet combined. The melter reactor, the meltdown, the melt through, the chain reaction is a vicious cycle. It's a breeder reactor. So you're wrong in saying that. No offense to you, but you can't think that way because that's the problem with people. They think, oh, I got all kinds of other problems. No. It's not like that. We got chain reaction meltdown. That's why Chernobyl had 3 million children with permanent disabilities because it lasted 10 days. Stetson! Craig and everybody, owned by Putin. Everybody else I didn't get, my apologies. And I'm sure there wasn't very many tonight because no one knew what was coming. Hyper, Mr. Joe, man, thank you, my friend. Hugs for everybody. Alex, Bob, anybody I miss? Slacker. And once again, made it through another stream, just good stuff. A couple of years ago. Because that's the route I got left to me right now, so. Yeah, thank you, everybody. Good night, Lane, Alex, CJ, Hyper, Mr. Joe, and Thurston, Slacker, Stetson, and everybody else. Thanks for everybody. Thank you for dropping by. I figured I'd put out a stream so people want to stream Sunday morning looking for something to get educated with and say hi, whatever. Put a little video tonight, and it's good for everybody all day tomorrow. I'll be back in bed for another little while, but I'm slowly now. I was out today for a good chunk. Like I say, I want to keep moving, otherwise you seize out. So hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody next stream. Probably Monday morning, but it looks the things. Keep busy for a couple of weeks, maybe, hopefully. Take care.